So what we'll do, we'll learn Viola Odorata from Soul of the Remedies. Shankaran sir had explained it very nicely. There are two aspects, specifically Viola Odorata, violin, and importance of violin in relation to the viola. If you open the repertoire, you are going to get one rubric. There is a aversion to music, specifically the violin, and you get single remedy Viola Odorata for 3 marks. But one thing you must keep it in your mind, even though the desire for violin it is not mentioned in the repertory or anywhere, because it is not the thing which came out through during the proving. What happens, we generally get this exactly opposite state in the same remedy, and this is a law which one has to take into consideration when things are not there in the repertory. So what we'll learn the Viola Odorata from the Soul of Remedies. We'll learn sentence by sentence what is given over there. So open your books, Viola Odorata from Soul of Remedies. The first sentence, Viola Odorata is a plant remedy. Like other plant remedies, it is extremely sensitive. So sensitivity is the characteristic of the plants. Any plant remedy, you have sensations, characteristic sensations you are going to get in plants. For minerals, it is structures. For the metals, it is structure, performance. For animals, it is competitiveness. For plants, it is always a sensitivity. The unique feature of Viola Odorata is that this emotional nature, this sensitivity is entirely suppressed. What he says, it is completely suppressed in case of Viola Odorata. The emotional level, the emotional sensitivity, it is as if a person is not permitted to feel or express any emotions, hence leads a life which is completely based on the intellectual decisions. Emotions are getting suppressed and he is living a life like a mechanical, like intellectual. Just generally females are more emotional they than the intellectualness. The emotional quotient is more marked in case of females than intellectual quotient. And in case of males, it is rather different. But many times in Viola Odorata cases, the emotional state has been suppressed and they starts working more intellectually. There seems to be a complete separation between emotions and the intellect in this remedy. The intellect dominates over emotion, not allowing the latter to surface. So here intellect dominates the emotions. So intellect, whenever a person shows the intellectual aspect or they always tries to talk in certain sense. Why you have not done this? Then you must you would have done that thing. They answers with intelligence. They never takes what is the reason behind that, what may be the emotional state. They never takes care about it. They always talks in the sense of intellectual answers, and that is very characteristic with Viola. The person leads most of his life saying and doing the correct things, taking decisions based upon logic and intellect. So this is a person who is going to work more intellectually and emotions gets rather suppressed in Viola Odorata. But sometimes there is upsurge of emotions, and at that time the behavior of the person is taken over by emotional response. But sometimes it happens that the intellectual state disappears and emotional upsurge comes up, and then that fellow becomes so emotional, and then he likes the music, the sensitive music of violin. Violin is always related with the emotional sphere. Music, the violin is always played specifically whenever the grip is there, some sad moments are there. That violin has a typical sounds, notes which creates that. And this fellow likes, desires violin, or there is an aversion to the violin. Both things, both states you can get in this specific remedy. I have found this remedy to be useful in persons who have had extremely controlled childhood in the, as in carcinosin. So you will have elements from domination in carcinosin. Carcinosin children are always got severely dominated. That is very characteristic with the carcinosin patient. Similar type of domination you can get over there, and they never blows up. What happens? There is always an intellectual dominance by the parents. They always require their child should come first, and they always tries to develop their intellect rather than emotions. Two of my patients of Viola Odorata are from Switzerland. Switzerland is known for its control and especially control on the emotional expression. See, this is Rajan sir's input. He used to take it into practical way. The Switzerland is a country where they never shows open emotions. They tries to control their emotion. And Viola Odorata has this specific thing that they utilizes more and more their intellect rather than emotion. Even though it is mentioned that Viola Odorata has an aversion to music, especially violin, I have seen quite the contrary, that they can be good violin players. So what is it? Even though in repertory you will going to get specifically aversion to music, specifically the violin, but in such types of people always craves or always likes playing the violin. This is his practical observation. The violin is the one instrument which has to be played with the precision and logic. At the same time, it can express emotions very profoundly. So, violin is related with the emotional sphere of the human being. Someone likes the violin, someone hates the violin, because that notes which are created by the violin always touches the heart, and because of which the person can sometimes get either aggravated, either he feels better. Both things can happen over there. So this is very important thing which he has explained. There are 5 rubrics explained by sir over there. Activity emotional, that is, this is very important. So emotional activity, it is tremendously increased. Single remedy Viola Odorata for 1 mark is mentioned over there. Then there is another rubric, activity mental. Actually, this rubric is activity mental exertion desire for. This is given in synthesis repertory. Mental exertion desire for Viola Odorata is there for 1 mark. Third rubric which he has mentioned, emotions predominated by intellect. You will get 3 remedies under this rubric. The plumbum for 1 mark, valeriana for 1 mark, and Viola Odorata for 2 marks. Okay, and second last rubric is sensitive violin 2, Viola Odorata 2 marks. Last rubric sir has mentioned, speech voice in a low soft, Viola Odorata for 2 marks. So the person talks in a very soft, low soft tone or voice. One must add one rubric over there, music aversion to violin specially. Music aversion to violin specially, Viola Odorata for 1 marks, 3 marks in complete repertory for single remedy. So see, we have learned Viola, different aspect of Viola Odorata from Soul of Remedies, the mental state of the persons. Specifically, generally I used to consider this is more related with the females rather than males, but also present in males also. So this is wonderful remedy explanation given by Rajan sir in the Soul of Remedies. So I think you have learned the Viola Odorata in a proper manner, the mental state of Viola. Okay.